Again, it will great privilege to sharing among you what God is done in our land in Ceylon. And you may know about Sri Lanka or Ceylon. The Ceylon or Sri Lanka is very close to the Indian Ocean. That's actually located in Indian Ocean. It's small island. Its length would be around 265 miles, and the wide will be the 140 miles. You know, this is the size of that land. In that land, there is two ethnic groups are living. The north and east, the Tamils living, and the south and west, the Sinhalese are living and occupied the land. And actually, the majorities are Sinhalese. Their religion is a Buddhism. Mainly the Buddhism. The country is a Buddhist country now. The north and east belongs to Tamils. The Tamils most of them are Hindus. But there are some Muslims and some Christians also living there. The Christian means the 7% of Christianity, including Roman Catholics and the cults. Reformed churches, it's a handful of people, you know, it's not many. But there's some of the evangelical or fundamental churches exist. But I would say there is only one mission. We follow what is the Reformed doctrine in Sri Lanka. This is a brief about Sri Lanka, Sri Lankan location, and population is 20 million people living in that particular land. Mainly, we are tourism and tea export, and some garments are main income for us. And you know, it's not very rich country, as you know. The politically is unstable. All the politicians are fully corrupted, and you know, we didn't see any good leaders in our land, and mainly that Western world is highly influenced to our country, and they want to take all good benefit out of our country, and still the geographically is a fighting who is going to dominion over the Sri Lanka, the China or America. You know, this is the huge problems are going on now. We don't know who is going to win. But anyway, we are praying the God need to dominion over our country. That's all. Well, there is a first thing I would like to share with you. You may have some question why I am with Free Church of Continuing. What is the connection? So why? There's 2006, I went to Free Church Seminary to study. During that time, I wasn't very convinced on purity of worship. I'm always fighting to my lecturers and, you know, asking some question every time about the purity of worship. But I wasn't very convinced. But the God is opened my heart and see what a wonderful truth about the purity of worship. I would like to say there is one minister is highly influenced myself. He is not with us anymore. He is in glory now. You may know him very well. He's a Mr. Silverside. David Silverside. I spoke to him about exclusive psalmody, and I bring my old rubbish arguments and telling him. He's very quietly, he listened me. I thought I won my argument. And finally he asked me that, can you please send me your postal address to me? I said, yes sir, why not? And I sent, and after 3 days, I received the book. And in his book, and he said, we don't care what is Isaac Watts think about God. We do care what is God think about himself. That's a psalm. That's punching my nose. He says, God is telling about himself in the psalm. Who is Isaac Watts? But then only I knew that he's a worship. I'm a wee board, compared to him about this knowledge. He's really encouraging his book and the lots of particular things. He says, please don't compare with the psalms and the hymns. The hymn means in the human writing hymn, because this is a God's word. Even though we couldn't compare, these are some small things touch my heart, and God is open my ignorance to show how wonderful to worship in a regulative way. And I'm very pleased. And then I convinced. Then my conscience wouldn't allow to go with worship with the non-psalmody church. And I was very convinced about the Sabbath day and how we should keep the Sabbath holy. And the Presbyterian government, these are the things that really touch me. And I seen there's a wonderful doctrine that God is revealed us from the scripture. And this, when I convinced on these matters, my conscience wouldn't allow to go back home and work with my previous church. And then the Free Church is asking, I asked to the Free Church, is there any possible to ordain me and send to Sri Lanka to plant the church? By the God of grace, that time Mr. Beers was in the convener of the mission committee, and they decided to ordain me and send me back to Sri Lanka, plant the church. 2012, I went to home and plant the church in Babunia. Babunia is a center of North and East. You may ask why you choose that place. The reasons are, the first reasons are there is no any Reformed church or any fundamental church around that particular district. And second reason, I would like to say that easy to access North and East. If we are going to, in the future, if we are going to plant the churches, and easy to move from Babunia to the Tamil East, North and East places, because that's another reason we decided to plant there. 2012, we rented home, and I preached to my wife for 6 months. There's a wonderful congregation I ever had. There's no murmuring, fully obedient, always encouraging to the minister. Whatever the minister said, 100% yes, sir. And after the people began to come, then the ministers here are falling down, There's a problems always. But I'm very thankful. The God is, 6 months, week after week, morning and evening, we preach. But nobody turned up. Finally, there's one family turned up. And we did evangelism and inviting people and tracking. And actually, we have a morning and evening service. My people in Babunia, they are, You know, some Christians are very lazy to go for the evening service. They think those evening service very handy for them to come before the evening service, you know. Then the people began to come to the evening services. They skip going their own church, and easy for them to come for an evening service to us, you know. But this is the way the church grow through the evening service. I preach. Now we have 40, if everyone turns, around 40 people, and evening service around 30. You know, this is a small, brief report about the Sri Lankan Vavuniya mission. And after that, there is one district is really affected by war. Lots of the civil war, you know, particularly in that area is heavily affected. Then when I visit that areas, no fathers, children don't have parents, they are living with their grandparents, and lots of disabilities. The people don't have legs and hands, and you know, lots of problems I've seen. And then my heart is telling that, you know, these people are suffering in this world, but I don't want to let them go to hell. But my heart is always burned for them to tell about Christ to them, and at least they will enjoy the eternal life in heaven, you know. That's my burden. Is then I pray and ask to the advice from the Kirk session. The Kirk session is highly reminding me and helping me to start the small mission station over there. And we started there. It was maybe 9 years ago. Now if everyone turns, it's around 30. It's not a big church as you guys have here. 30 in the morning and evening, maybe 20. And we had one evangelist, and he preached some time to us. And I preached morning and Vavuniya, and evening preach in Mullaitivu. And one of our deacon, he helped me to preach in my absence. You know, this is the way we started work there. Then we see there is in Vavuniya there is a village. There's a full of immoralities. People don't have any schools. Very poor. Most of the mothers, they go to Middle East to work. The fathers abuse children. And maybe the fathers married, you know, second time, and you know, there's lots of immoralities in particular village. I went there and did lots of work with them and inviting them to the church. And we started the preschool and educated them. We call the preschool Knox Christian Preschool. But now the Knox Christian Preschool in Vavuniya do have 23 children, and we have a good connection with them. And they are not, the village is not support for our church. We are caring them, you know, they see the love in us. Please do remember that particular village and the preschool in your prayers. God need to be open. Still we do some evangelism in that particular village. And please do remember in this mission. And the Knox Christian Preschool, not only in Vavuniya, we do have in our next mission station called Mullaitivu Mission. We do have there as well in that Knox Christian Preschool. The purpose of this Knox Christian Preschool is, through this children ministry, we need to reach out and bring the God-fearing children in the society. And through these children, we can bring the gospel to their parents as well, you know, always this is our goal. And through that ministry, we had one family in Mullaitivu, and some of the young people came to know the Lord through this mission. The second missions we do, that book translation. We did some book translated. The one book called The Spiritual Growth by Joel Bickey, and we did translate it. And Day of Worship by Ryan McGraw, we did translate that book. And Westminster Shorter Catechism we already translated, and Westminster Confession of Faith translated. But we did these kind of translations, and God is give us these wonderful gifts to us. And there is one guy, he's a Reformed Baptist guy, and he helped me to translate these books. And the Westminster Confession of Shorter Catechism is translated by my friend Ranjan here, and he did big part of the translation. And that's be given to the press to print. Hopefully that before end of this year, we will get the copies in our hand. There's other ministries we do. The family Bible studies, the area family Bible studies. Every month, the one families, we are having a Bible studies their home, and tell them to bring the neighbors to the Bible studies. You know, this is the way we do some evangelism over there. And out of that ministry, we had encouragement last maybe 3 months ago. There's one family began to come to the church. It was really encouraging to see the new people in the church. Then we started small Bible study group in hill country. It was maybe 7 hours from, in the top of the hill. We call Hatton. If you could able to search online, Hatton. There's lots of Tamil people. They came from India to work in the tea plantation. Accents, our way of talking is pretty different, but both of us are speaking the same language. And they are very keen to know the Lord and the Reformed doctrines. I go every month to 2 days and teach. Probably 20 people coming to attend very attentively here. And, I teach basic doctrines, Westminster Confession of Faith, and purity of worship, and importance of the creation ordinance. These are the things I'm teaching them and really appreciate. We do pray for this ministry, and hopefully we will establish the church in the particular area. We don't know what is the God's plan is, and we are praying that God need to bring and raise up the faithful man to do the work over there. Run and farm. Our church and the Deacons Court approved to buy a run and farm. There's one family is kindly donated to the fund to buy a piece of land. It's cost around 30,000 USD to buy this land. And we had a small house. I think that one of the congregation in USA, they give some money to finish it off the farmhouse. And the purpose of the farm is we need to cultivate and get some money and support into the local church. And at the meantime, some locals can get some work opportunity through the farm work. And mainly in this farm, it's 200 coconut trees, and we do do some vegetables and peanuts and cassava. I don't know how many of you know the cassava. It's a kind of vegetable. These are the things we are doing at the moment. We didn't get the full income out of it. We need to wait another 2-3 years to get the benefit out of the coconut tree. These are the coconut trees are not a huge tree, and now it's a babies. It will take at least 2-3 years to get coconut out of the trees. Then there's a further mission plan. As you know, there's lots of people are very keen to know the Lord, and we have a very lack of faithful ministers. And our Kirk session is agreed to start a small Bible college called Melville Theological Institute. There's a purpose of the institute is raising up man and teaching to them and send them to plant the church, or we need to use them for evangelism, or that's what our plan for this mission. We do have 2 men are ready to join with us. We are expecting for 10. We are not taking more than 10. So 10 is our plan, and we train these 10 men and send them to the different places to plant the church. And it's very difficult to train a man over there because we have language problems. I will teach some subjects, and we might ask to some ministers from US or Scotland to teach them in a regular basis. Sometimes you couldn't come. It's very difficult to fly over to come, and very expensive to fly over too. You may send some lecture notes or maybe video lectures. Maybe I may translate and teach them. This is our plan, and please do remember, because this is a very important ministry, I do feel, because lack of workers, so lots of need, and we need to pray, and I'm really expecting your support as well for this particular ministry. The 10 ministers, 10 students, maximum 10 students, we may give some help to them to study full time. They may work part time as well somewhere else. This is my personal and our Kirk session also agree to start this kind of mission, and please do. This is one of the biggest plan for the next year. As usual, we do have lots of discouragements in our ministry. The new people are, we didn't see many new people come in, and some people are leaving, left our church because of some various rubbish reasons. We are psalm singing and our church government. And another discouragement, we feel that the churches are persecuting us because we are holding the purity of worship. They are mocking us and spreading the bad news about us. It's a really pain our heart. The church persecuting the church is a horrible thing. It's very sad. But anyway, we do believe. I remember in the beginning, Cain and Abel. He was persecuted because of he believed the regulative principle. There's no other reason. But we are still persecuted by some other churches. We do believe the Lord will with us, and please do remember. But there's no new people because we don't have any entertainment at the church. Other churches, they have music and dancing, and lots of entertainments are going on in the churches right now. But in our church, there is no any entertainment. No clapping hands and dancing or any fancy things, and no puppet shows. We are not making anything. Just read the Bible, preach the Bible, sing the Bible, pray. That's all. That doesn't very attractive to the people. This is therefore we can't change what is the God is. We can't change these things, but we are pray the Lord need to be bring His people under Thy grace of throne. And would please do remember and pray to our people God need to be give more courage to live, and the people are not wealthy people, and God need to be bless them and give them wisdom to know the truth, and God need to give the wisdom to know the strategic of the Satan. You know, these are the things our people need to know. And please do remember me in your prayers. Many times I will be down all the time because I am the only one minister is doing the many things. But here when I see, I feel it's very encouraging. There are lots of ministers, lots of elders. You know, there is not one person is doing everything. But in Sri Lanka, I feel, you know, all the time I am the target point to everyone. You know, please do remember me in your prayers. I do, I'm sure you do. And continually remember me in your prayers. These are the brief report from Sri Lanka.